Nancy had a rough day today, neighbor drama, not resolved, but I had to remove myself and release the anger and ground and drum. Good. And I'm better now. Very tough being a natural empath. Okay, so let me tell you on that one, my dear. And, and I want you to measure how well I stood up, I seen it, I took action. Now let's take and go further. And I'm going to say that the moment, because my body's like, oh, we take that moment and on the emotional scale of how you knew it, it's still a 10. You calm this down, but you fired and wired. It has a memory. It has an OMG. You learn to readjust and not really adapt. We now to take you to this next step. I says, what would we want you to do? And they said, notice that her reaction was that she did all these things, but it is how to not have any empathy for the situation. Here's the one thing that people don't understand when you're an empath or a kinesthetic or a sensitive. They're all different. But one thing is in common is that you have to learn not to care sometimes because you are living in the land of duality. You get it, you see it, you understand it. But because you care and you're hoping they had the same heart, then you can take and you're starting to choke yourself on your own ego's way of defining what an empath means without boundaries. And so it can take you to the next level. It can tap into your nerves and it's overstimulation. So the environment changes your DNA and your DNA chooses to express in that way. Your inner world programs says it's okay to do that. We need to change those. And I said, if we were going to address that, they said, notice that you have to learn, Nancy, what is it, Bulliard? You have to learn something. So you're going to say, thank you, Spirit. As an empath, how do I take and do this? How do I change this? How can I do it in a way that I don't have to be overstimulated with that? And normally we're like, hey, it's outside, it's them, it's this. Well, first of all, we know that the environment's doing it. So now what program is projecting this? What program needs to be addressed? And one of the things that I feel like we have to evolve in this one is what's called the RTJP. It is when we start around 2 or 3, we started to develop this ability to think what other people think. We would look, we would observe. We don't recognize ourselves. But we're like,